In January last year, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy urged US President Joe Biden to let Ukraine join NATO. This flustered Russia, which has been against NATO's eastward expansion. And in spring last year, Russia started sending troops near its Ukraine border for the so-called training exercises, and the troop massing increased during autumn. The events unfolding in Ukraine seems to be a precursor to a new Cold War taking shape in Europe. Now the world wonders what could be Russian President Vladimir Putin's next agenda after Ukraine invasion. Will his next target be Baltic States? Welcome to Kaumudy Global, and I am Asok here. Let us make an attempt to find an answer to this and know about Russia's Baltic connections. The Baltic States is a modern, unofficial geopolitical term typically used to group three so-called Baltic countries: Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania. All three countries are members of NATO, the European Union, the eurozone and OECD. The three sovereign states on the eastern coast of Baltic Sea are sometimes referred to as the Baltic nations. Russia's attack on Ukraine has led Estonians, Latvians and Lithuanians, particularly those old enough to have lived under Soviet control, to think that they could be the next target. For them, the current war has brought back memories of mass deportations and oppressions. Russia's attack on Ukraine, in fact, has sent shudders through the Baltic countries. Lithuania's president declared a state of emergency, and Latvia suspended the broadcast licenses of several Russian TV stations, which have been allegedly spreading disinformation and propaganda. All three Baltic countries were seized and annexed by Joseph Stalin during World War II before gaining independence again with the breakup of the Soviet Union in 1991. Now, who is Joseph Stalin? Joseph Stalin was a Georgian revolutionary and Soviet political leader who governed the Soviet Union from 1922 until his death in 1953. Baltic countries joined NATO in 2004, cocooning themselves in the military protection of the US and its Western allies. Ukraine is still not a member of NATO. Along with Poland, also a NATO member, the small Baltic countries have been among the vociferous campaigners for powerful sanctions against Moscow and NATO reinforcements on the alliance's eastern flank. Baltic government leaders in recent weeks have shuttled between European capitals, warning that the West must rein in and penalize Russian President Putin for attacking Ukraine, or else his tanks will keep rolling towards other countries which were parts of the former USSR. The battle for Ukraine is a battle for Europe. If Putin is not stopped there, he will go further. Lithuanian Foreign Minister Gabrielius Landsbergis warned last week in a joint news conference with US Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. 2 days before the Russian attack on Ukraine, US President Joe Biden announced that some American forces deployed in Europe, including 800 infantry soldiers, F-35 fighters, and Apache helicopters, would be moved to the three Baltic states. The US, however, has called it a purely defensive step. The news was well received by the Baltic capitals. While the NATO treaty commits all allies to defend any member that comes under attack, the Baltic countries say it is imperative that NATO shows resolve not just in words but also in deeds. Putin once described the disintegration of former Soviet Union as a tragedy for the Russian people. And now, though he has not publicly expressed any ambition to reassert Russian control over the Baltic countries, many Estonians, Latvians and Lithuanians feel that he wants to regain influence across all former republics of the Soviet Union. Baltic countries are culturally and linguistically different from Russia. They also don't have the same connection to Russian history and identity. However, they were ruled by Moscow for most of the past 200 years, first by the Russian Empire, then for almost 50 years following the Second World War by the Soviet Union. All three Baltic countries have ethnic Russian minorities. In Latvia and Estonia, ethnic Russian minorities make up about 1/4 of the population. However, the Baltic countries have expressed strong support for Ukraine. Baltic leaders have traveled to Kyiv recently to show their solidarity and have sent both weapons and humanitarian aid to Ukraine. By the way, former President of Estonia, Kersti Kaljulaid, the first woman to hold that office, says, while the Baltics are direct neighbors of Russia, other European countries should be equally worried about the crisis in Ukraine. Do you know why? It is because if you look from Kyiv, it's the same distance to Berlin as Tallinn, the capital city of Estonia, she quips.